Right, so you guys waited, and now it is time again. We're going to be doing my presets, part 2. In the first preset, I showed the Moz Titanium White preset, which I kind of copied, so technically I showed 4, but never mind. I showed my red preset, I showed my bubbly preset, which I actually don't have anymore, so kind of outdated. And I showed my Interstellar preset and something else. Anyway, I'm going to be showing you 5 more of my presets. So we're just going to be going through these. I don't know how detailed I'm going to get, so I'm going to have a look to see which ones I show. So starting off, this is the preset I'm using at the moment. This is my main preset. I do have a bit of an inventory update. I changed out my black tunicas for a pair of black veloces just because I like them just a tiny bit more and I wanted just the change of scenery. So that's why I changed it. I like these colors because they fit to my banner and I really like the banner as well. So like you have the floral pattern of the hibiscus and the kind of floral pattern of the griffon, and I really like the griffon decal. So let's get right into it. So we have a titanium white octane, we have a titanium white griffon. Now I'm using a dark blue with this one with camo because I really like the camo as a paint finish. We're using a bright red and we're using glossy just because I think it looks that much brighter, also with the white. For the red side, we are using a dark red with camo as well, and I'm using a bit of a lighter blue because I like it. I don't like how this blue looks because it looks kind of weird on the eyes, so I used a bit of a lighter blue and glossy and camo as well, respectively. Now for the wheels, I'm using my black veloces. For the boost, I'm using alpha boost, but actually I'm going to turn this off because just in case you guys want to replicate this without Bacchus mod, then you're free to. I'm going to use the titanium white standard on this one because that's just the only color that's really the exact same on this preset. For the gold explosion, I'm using butterflies on this one, and for the trail, I'm using classic trail. Now the reason I use classic trail instead of titanium white is because I just like the classic trail more. So yeah, so that's the first car. So my next preset is the flash freeze preset, and some of you guys may know this, may not. A lot of people have been asking me how to make this preset, so I thought I'd just show it off in a video. So for the blue side, we're going to be using a sky blue octane. For the red side, we're going to be using a crimson. I used the flash freeze decal, which was in the rocket pass. So if you don't have the rocket pass, then you probably won't have the flash freeze. I don't know if it's tradable or not sure. But that's where it comes from. Now for the primary, we're using a mint-y green because I like the 2 colors on it. And we're using a sky blue secondary just to really match with that mint. For the red side, we're using a bright red primary with a neon pink secondary to match that too. For the wheels, we're using black veloce once more. And for the boost, we're going to be using a sky blue standard on the blue side and a crimson standard on the red side. For the gold explosion, I use butterflies on the red, and on the blue, I use polypop just because it matches the colors pretty well. You can also use splash, seeing as it kind of has both colors in it, or you can use any other gold explosion you want, doesn't really matter. For the blue side, we're using a sky blue friction, and for the red side, we're using a ruckus, which is basically just a crimson friction, so that's the same thing. So that is the second car. And for our next car, we're going to be looking at the Cobalt Slipstream design. Now, this Cobalt Slipstream is one I use quite often when I want to use the Slipstream because this is just my favorite color to use with it because it's not too bright, but it's not too dark, so you can still see the Slipstream really well. But it's not too bright where you're like white, for example, seeing as the white on the Slipstream is pretty jarring. So that's why I like to use a Cobalt. So starting us off, we're using a Cobalt Octane, which is pretty cool. We're using a Slipstream black market decal, which is actually not that expensive, so that's pretty cool. We're using a mint green as the primary once more. You can also use a blue if you really don't like the mint green, but mint green is just one of my favorite colors, so I'm using it. We're using a light cobalt as our second color. So this is the cobalt that matches the body. So as you can see, the waves going up, it matched the body. The stripes going across the other side are kind of darker, but I kind of do like that, so yeah. On the pink side, we're using a neon pink. I just did it one shade darker so it's not that bright. And on the secondary, we're doing the same blue as the other side. So just the same colors there. For the wheels, I'm using, again, black veloce, but you can also use the cobalt tunicas if you want. You just have to adjust the colors a bit like this and then maybe take off the cobalt octane. So that's one change you can make if you want to make it a bit more budget friendly. So that's also a thing you can do. I'm using a standard blue for this, seeing as I think the back exhaust fits the car colors really well. And the blue also is a similar shade of the stripes. Not really, but it's just the best boost that matches that I have. For the gold explosion, we're using a Cobalt atomizer, seeing as it has 2 colors of blue in there, and that looks pretty cool. And for the trail, we're using a Cobalt luminous because we want Cobalt on all of the car. So that's kind of what I went with. So another preset I was using for a while was this Deep 6. It was Lime Deep 6, was in the item shop, and I was using it. And funnily enough, also inspiration for this video was that Justin is using this car right now as I'm filming this in the grid. So that was pretty shocking for me because I used this car for a bit and then it kind of fell off and I was like, I'll use a different car, and now he's using it, which is pretty funny. So we're using a non-painted octane for this one because I like the non-painted octane on this car. You can use a lime one if you want. We're using the Deep 6 Lime Import Animated Decal. This is from the newest form of item drops, so that's where you can find it. It's also not that expensive. It's like 700 credits, I think, so you can grab it if you want to. Seeing as we're using the lime, we're using a dark blue as the primary so that you can see at the back, and the secondary is a neon pink, which you can see in the middle. So that is the colors on the blue side, and on the orange side we're just inverting the colors, so we're using a neon pink on the primary, and we're using a cobalt blue on the secondary, which is pretty cool. So you get like a 3 color scaling, which is very, very nice. I think it also has a really cool aesthetic in the game. For the wheels, we're using black Veloce again. You can also experiment, use like pink tunicas or something a bit more different, but I do feel like black wheels really, really look nice on this car, or like non-colored wheels, because it gives the car itself more vibrant looks, and it's not really like overshadowing it too much with the wheels, so it's not too flashy, which is kind of cool. For the boost, I'm using a standard blue, just to match the blue on the back. You can also use pink on the orange side if you so please, but I don't think it really matters too much. For the gold explosion, I'm using a Lime Force Razor 2. This is what Justin is using, so I just copied him. Wow, originality, but no. I think this actually fits really, really nicely to the car, just because it's lime. And also, I don't really have any other good lime gold explosions, so I think this is actually a really good choice. For the trail, we're using a classic trail. You can also use a pink trail to match with the pink part of the car if you want to do so. You can also use a cobalt one to match with the cobalt, and then if you have a pink boost or a lime boost, that also works perfectly fine. So yeah, now I'm going to move on to the last car. Right, now here is the last car. I'm pretty sure if you've watched my stream at any time at all, you know what this car is. If you haven't, you're missing out. So I remember in my last My Car design episode that I showed off the Shisa. That was the last one I showed off, so I remember that. And yeah, so I decided to show off this one. This is my Red Bull car. So as you can see, Red Bull on the front with the yellow eyes and the dark blue. So it looks like the Red Bull racing cars and looks like the Red Bull logo and the colors. So let's just get into this. So I'm using a non-painted octane. I do sometimes switch out to the white, so you will see me using this as well. We are using a CRL Northern Saffron, which I think has gone up in price recently. So I don't know how good this car is to make anymore, but as I bought it, it was like 1,000 credits. So that is pretty cool. So for the primary color, you can use the darkest blue with grassy, or what you can do if you don't like the grassy, then you can also just use matte and make it a bit brighter. So you can keep it like this. I do like using the grassy though, just because it makes it really dark and it looks more like the Red Bull racing cars and not the like normal Red Bull can. For the secondary, we're using a crimson or like a light red, like a really bright red. So just the brightest red you can with matte paint finish. And then on the other side, we're using a bright red matte primary with a dark blue secondary. And trust me, you can see the difference between the blues in the game. I used to have it like this, but I thought it was kind of too blue, so I changed it down like this. And I was like, huh, that looks kind of black. I don't know if you want to, I don't know if you can see the difference, and trust me, you can see the difference. So that is what I'm rocking on that. Wheels, black wheels again. I am using the sparkles on this one because I usually go with the, what's the name? The Alpha Boost when I'm using this car. If you don't have the Alpha Boost, a black standard would work really well on this, or a crimson standard would work well on this, or even just the standard yellow would work really well on this. So I would recommend the standard yellow. If you don't have the standard yellow, find a yellow boost that you can use, because trust me, it looks really cool. For the gold explosion, we're using the big splash, mainly because it's like a splash with water and that's like drinks. So Red Bull kind of fits that. Very refreshing if you get scored If you score on your opponents, it'll refresh them. So I don't know what I was thinking with that. It just fits. Also, it's like red and blue, so that also kind of fits. So yeah. And for the trail, I'm using a Crimson Friction, also called the Ruckus. And when you see the Crimson Friction match with the yellow boost, then it looks really, really cool. Especially with this car that has the yellow and red all over it. So that's a really nice fit. And yeah, so I hope you enjoyed a follow-up video to my 5 presets. These are 5 of my newer presets. And I hope to see you guys later. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, join the Discord. Everything's below. And peace.